1, 2, and 3. 1, 1, wow, wow, wow. ASMR. Is that good or really crunchy? Anyway, I've spent a truly unreasonable amount of time trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I was told for my whole life, I was told you're too loud, you're too sensitive, you're too intense, you need to calm down, you are too weird, you're too opinionated, you're too emotional, you need to chill out. It's too this, too that, too everything. You know what I'm saying? And lately I've started wondering, what if those aren't really personality flaws? What if they're just me? Not everything about me needs to be fixed because it isn't convenient for other people, or because it makes other people feel uncomfortable. Honestly, it pisses me off that I did that for so long. Where's this piece? Okay, I put this one. That's not. Where's. Oh, sticker. Okay. Anyway, it's so easy for people, especially women, to receive these little messages throughout their life about how we're supposed to be. And they're not necessarily huge traumatic moments either. Honestly, they're rarely huge traumatic moments. Usually it's little things, tiny moments that just add up over time. Stuff like you're being so dramatic, you're being too loud, you're being too intense. Why do you care so much? You need to calm down. You can make a great actress because you're so dramatic. You're just overthinking everything. You're just so weird. Or you're too weird or whatever. And eventually you don't even need people to tell you that stuff anymore. You start telling yourself those things because that's what you grew up hearing. That's what you were told about yourself forever. That was my experience anyway. And so you don't even need someone else to say it because you just start saying it yourself. You become your own editor in that way. So for the majority of my life, honestly, until more recently than I'd like to admit, I just thought it was too loud because I don't know, I am loud. I like music loudly. I get really excited. I talk with my whole body. I laugh loudly. You can hear me laughing a mile away. People, honestly, there have been times in my life where people have come from out of the woodworks and they were like, I knew you were here because I heard you laughing. I have loud opinions. I'm just loud in a lot of ways. And I learned from a young age that being noticed and being noticeable wasn't always socially accepted, especially in the ways that I'm noticeable. But I realized more recently than I'd like to admit, again, that yeah, I need to be considerate of other people, sure, but I don't need to make myself smaller so that nobody finds me annoying, And like maybe I'm not too loud, maybe I'm just not quiet, you know? Maybe I'm just not quiet and other people have a problem with that. That sounds like a personal problem, you know? And kind of in the same vein or the same lane. Ooh, I thought something was falling. I thought I was too sensitive. I was been told my whole life that I'm too sensitive. Why are you crying again? Like, you're always crying? You're always like this or that. I feel everything so deeply. I always have and I always will. It's just who I am as a person. I notice tone. I notice any shift in behavior. I notice any shift in somebody's micro expressions, their energy, even literally. Like I can feel a shift in someone. I always have been able to, and I always will. And that stuff sticks with me, because I care really deeply about things that other people may brush off. But I don't know. In that being so sensitive is kind of a double-edged sword too. It is a superpower in a lot of ways, but I've learned that it can make me super, super vulnerable to overthinking. And I have anxiety anyway, and a lot of ADHD. I have a very rich inner world. Okay. My ADHD is not like outward. My ADHD is like there's something going on. There's like 8 conversations going on in here at any given time. So being super sensitive kind of does exacerbate that. So overthinking is a real problem for me. A real problem for me. And so being so sensitive is not always fun. I'm not going to romanticize it. Honestly, it is not fun a lot of the time. Sometimes, honestly, a lot of times, my brain will take a 30-second interaction with somebody and turn it into like a 6-series HBO situation. Okay. Like it'll be in there for a lot longer than it ever needed to be. And I'll just be like ruminating, going over like why did I say it like that? Like what should I have said? Like, why did I do that? Why did, And the person that is involved in that interaction probably never thought about it again. I'm thinking about it 6 seasons later, and they've never thought about it once since the interaction, you know? So it's not always fun being so sensitive. But being sensitive also means that I notice things, I remember details about people, I care deeply, I get genuinely excited about things. Music hits me hard and is a therapy, truly a therapy for me. Probably therapy that, honestly, music is therapy for me in the biggest way. And I've been using it as therapy unknowingly since before I can remember. As a child, you know, music, I feel it so deeply and it has helped me through so many things in life. Like, honestly, I would not be here today, probably, or be the person that I am today if it wasn't for music and how deeply I feel it and relate and resonate, you know? But my people matter deeply to me. Like, when I care about you, I care about you. Okay, I don't mess around. Like, I don't mess around with people that I care about. I am super, super sensitive and will always be when it comes to the people that I care about and the people that I love. So, in a lot of ways, the same trait that creates that struggle also creates beauty and love, you know? So, I don't know. In a lot of ways, I thought for a long time that I cared too much about people, about relationships, about my family, about work, you know, even stupid little things like this Lego set, even probably at one point. I built a lot of Legos in my life and I probably cared way too much about most of them. I don't know. I don't want to be somebody that doesn't care so much, you know? I say you know a lot. I'm going to overthink that later. But I don't want to become someone who doesn't care just because caring deeply opens the door to being vulnerable and possibly being disappointed, you know? So I'm just going to keep caring. I'm just going to keep caring deeply. And that just is what it is. That will always be who I am, even though for a long time it felt like a negative in more ways than it felt like a positive. For a long time, I thought I was too weird. That's another one. I thought it was too weird. I thought it was, I've been told a lot in my life that I'm weird, you know? And a lot of people probably have, to be honest. But for me, it was because I like Legos, I like anime, I like Hello Kitty, I like heavy metal, I like K-pop, I like a lot of things that are kind of a juxtaposition, you know? I have the humor of a 12-year-old boy. uh, always have, always will. And a lot of people, honestly, still, I've been told more recently than I'd like to admit that I've said that a lot in this video. I'm going to overthink that too. Sensitive. No, but I've been told a lot, even recently, like, you're 37. Okay. You're buying Legos and you're doing all the stuff. You like K pop. That's weird. Like, not necessarily by people that I know or care about. Usually it's just like idiots on the internet. But it reinforces that message in a negative way, you know, and it's something that I'm still working on. But I don't know, I can be intense, I can be angry, I can be obsessive about the things that I'm really interested in, like Legos or, you know, shows that I really like this is One Piece. This is a One Piece Lego set and I freaking love One Piece. Like, you know what I mean? I can be obsessive about that kind of stuff. I love Stray Kids. I'm obsessive about Stray Kids. I don't know, I hyperfixate on stuff. And I don't really fit neatly into any specific aesthetic or box, I guess, you know? And I spent so much time thinking that I needed to figure out what kind of person that I was supposed to be. But I'm realizing, I don't know, I actually really like the fact that I'm a weird combination of things. I don't have to be one thing. I'm allowed to be more than one thing. You're allowed to be more than one thing. Okay? I'm I'm allowed to love Stray Kids and Falling in Reverse. Okay? And so are you. You're allowed to represent duality in that way. I'm allowed to care about fashion and want to look really nice and then also turn into Adam Sandler when I get home. I can I can be a mom and still have my own weird universe that I live in. You can be both. A lot of people want to be just one thing or think that they have to be just one thing and you don't. I mean, you can have layers like Shrek says. Shrek has layers. She's like an onion. We have layers. Ogres have layers. And you can have layers too. I also really like Shrek. Shrek is also a special interest of mine. It's hard to do this and also talk. Where did I get these from? Why did I put these like that? Okay, one of these goes here. Oh no. One of these goes here. I'm missing one. Wow, wow, wow. I have a lot of vocal stems right now. That's one of them. Wow. Also, cappuccino and americano. That's another big one. Anyway, can you tell my ADHD meds have worn off? Because I can. Inattentive. That's what I was trying to think of. My ADHD, I have very inattentive ADHD, so there's a lot going on up here at any given time. Um, anyway, for a long time, I thought it was too much. I've been told I was too much pretty much my entire life by friends, family, you name it, acquaintances, whatever, you know. I've been told that I'm too loud, I'm too opinionated, I'm too emotional, I get too excited. I'll never forget, I was watching an eclipse one time. It was an eclipse. It was a freaking eclipse, okay? And it happened, and I was like, whoa, I got really excited. And somebody that was with me at the time was like, whoa, calm down. I was like, and it wasn't, I got embarrassed. This had to have been like 10 years ago. And I got embarrassed because I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, that was way too much. Why did I do that? It was because it was a freaking eclipse and it was cool as hell. And I was excited. And the person told me to calm down. Ugh, disgusting. But yeah, I've been told that I'm too passionate. I'm too me, basically, is really what people were saying for a long time. But too much is meaningless without context. Too much for who? Too much for what? In comparison to what? It's like maybe I never really was too much, you know? Maybe I was just trying to fit myself into places that were too small, that weren't enough. Maybe I was never too much. Maybe I was trying to fit myself into places that were not enough, that just couldn't handle all of me, you know? And if you feel like you're too much, that's probably the case for you too. Maybe the places you're trying to fit yourself into just aren't enough. So I'm realizing that there's a difference between having things about yourself that you want to work on and believing that there's something fundamentally wrong with who you are as a person. So I don't know. You can improve who you are as a person without hating yourself. You can improve who you are as a person without erasing who you are fundamentally. You can grow without becoming someone else entirely. You can apologize when you're wrong without deciding you're a bad person. That was one that took me a long time to really like cement into my brain. You can apologize when you're wrong without telling yourself you're a bad person. You can become more emotionally regulated without becoming less emotional. You can become more confident without becoming less sensitive. You can become more without becoming less. And that was a hard concept for me to really grasp for a long time. Growth doesn't mean erasing who you are. And if you feel like you've had to erase who you are or change so many things about who you are fundamentally, that's how you know maybe there's some, what's the word I'm trying to find? Maybe there's some programming. That's the one. Maybe there's some programming you need to recalibrate, think about, reprogram, you know? So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm loud, maybe I'm sensitive, maybe I care too much, maybe I'm super weird, maybe occasionally I'm just a lot. But it turns out that's just me, you know? And honestly, I'm finally starting to really like her. I'm finally really starting to like her. And that feels like a childhood healing type of a situation, you know, going back to who I really was and really embracing the things that I loved as a kid and being able to look back on her and be like, hey, I'm really sorry that I abandoned you for so long because other people told us that we were too much. We're not, you never were. And I'm not now because I'm really starting to love you and I'm really starting to like who I am and I'm starting to come back to you, who I was as a kid. And that's really beautiful, you know, feels good. So at the end of the day, bottom line is I spent a really long time trying to be acceptable, trying to be palatable. But now I'm figuring out who the hell I am. Now I'm figuring out who the hell I am or remembering who the hell I am and accepting that, loving that, being good with that. I don't know. I'm not trying to become a completely different person anymore. I'm just trying to become a better version of the person that I already am. So I hate that I spent a truly ungodly amount of time trying to figure out who I am and trying to be cool with that and unlearn all the programming that told me that I was too much in all the ways. But I'm really happy and grateful that I'm starting to get to a place now at 37 where I'm okay with the person that I am and I don't feel like I have to prove anything to anyone or change anything for anyone. And I'm starting to get to a point where I'm like, I don't ask the question anymore, do they like me? I hope they like me. Now I'm able to go, do I like them? Are they somebody that I want to hang out with? Are they somebody that I want to spend my energy on? Are they somebody that I want to care deeply about? Are they going to judge me for being who I am? And if so, the person that I am says, you're not my people, and that's fine. Nothing against that. That's okay. But I'm learning that I can ask that question and I can decide whether or not I like somebody. And if I don't, I can just move on and continue to be authentic to myself. I don't have to feel like I need to change anything for anyone anymore. And that's really beautiful. It took a long time to get here, but I'm really happy that I'm not trying to become a completely different person anymore. I'm really happy that I'm just trying to become a better version of the person that I already am and of the person that I always have been.